Okay. All right, hello everybody. I'm Garen Petty and you're not. Okay? I'm going to do this video tonight. This is Mary Springowski's interview with Lieutenant Morris of the Lorain Police Department on July the 2nd, 2024. As most of you know by now, I'm suing Mary Springowski for defamation. Lorraine Ritchie, Dan Nutt, Tony DeMacchia, Joelle Arredondo, Brianna Dahl, and included in the lawsuit is Pat Riley and maybe it ain't Riley, Jack Bradley, and the whole city. Again, these people conspired against me. And now we're going to watch their, or listen to their audio tapes of what they said about me, about Mary Springowski and the video she took. So, we'll get going here, and I'll probably stop a few times and, make some comments. All right, I'm going to start off having a drink of Lake Erie Highball. Everybody likes a Lake Erie Highball, right? Okay, let's turn this back and start going with the Mary Springowski interview. 3 weeks ago I did Lieutenant Morris's interview, or not his interview, but his sworn testimony to the Lorain Police, Judge Elwell in... when was that? August of 24. And the prosecuting attorney in that was Mallory Santiago of the Lorain Law Department, asking them questions. And then I did Joelle 2 days ago, and then yesterday I did Tony DeMacchia. Today it's Mary Springowski's turn. So here we go. This is from Aaron's Substack, The Trial of Garen Petty, prosecuting a citizen journalist for asking questions. Scroll down here and we'll see. This will be Mary Springowski's interview with Lieutenant Morris.
Okay, the date is July 2nd, and it's 10:51 a.m. Lieutenant Morris reaching out to Mary Springowski, councilwoman, with respect to a menacing/trespass investigation concerning Brianna Dahl.
I did finally find the number.
Okay, yeah. What's that cell phone number?
440-219-8748.
Okay, perfect. Got it. Thank you. So, again, Lieutenant Morris reaching out to Mary Springowski, 10:51 on July 2nd, 10:51 a.m. on July 2nd, with respect to her witnessing a potential trespass/menacing involving a Garen Petty and a Brianna Dahl. I am recording, just so you know, Ms. Springowski, or Councilwoman Springowski, excuse me. So I am recording just so that I can go back and make sure I didn't confuse an and with an or any of those little mistakes that can get made. But
that's fine.
Basically why I'm calling you today is just to kind of get what you saw yesterday concerning the exchange between Mr. Garen Petty and Mrs. Brianna Dahl. Are you familiar with the incident that I'm talking about? Okay. If you can, just kind of walk me through right when the meeting gets adjourned. If you can just walk me through what you
actually started during council concerns. During Councilwoman Kelly in the 7th Ward, who is councilperson for Ms. Petty, brought up a concern asking about the meeting minutes. She asked about the June 3rd and was notified that the vote had been posted online in time. She asked about the next meeting on June 17th, a regular meeting, and she said that we had Ms. Dahl, that we passed up She asked about the June 10th committee meetings and was informed that regular council meetings take precedence over committee meetings and that the meeting minutes had not been completed yet, but that the live stream was available. Mrs. Spellisi said, but the recording audio is very bad. And Mrs. Stoll informed her, but that is what I am working off as well, which is why it takes longer for the minutes to get done. During that time, right afterwards, I spoke, and I said that I was offended by her remarks because of all that Mrs. Stoll does, her regular duties as well, and that of her assistant, Mrs. Parton. And
why is Springowski appalled or offended by a question from a council person that's relaying a question from one of her constituents, which is me? Why would Springowski be appalled? Don't we have a right to redress our government with grievance, Mrs. Springowski? Or only on your terms?
And that we should be grateful that, she does as much as she does to keep everything in order. And during that time, Mr. Petty was sitting in the audience. He took off his hat and he starts waving it, and he had a white paper in his hands and he was waving that. I don't know if he was trying to get someone's attention. Then,
how about maybe I was fanning myself because it was hot in there, like you're on tape fanning yourself plenty of times, Springowski. Aren't we allowed to fan ourselves like you do?
The meeting adjourned, and Mr. Petty got up and...
Let's start this back.
And he starts waving it, and he had a white paper in his hands, and he was waving that. I don't know if he was trying to get someone's attention. Then the meeting adjourned, and...
That's the key. Then the meeting adjourned. Remember that, people. Joel said the meeting adjourned. Tony DeMacchia said the meeting adjourned. Mary Springowski said the meeting adjourned. They all told Lieutenant Morris that. Yet Lieutenant Morris told the judge the meeting was not adjourned and that I was inside there while the meeting was still commencing. Okay? This is why Morris is added to the lawsuit, because he lied to the judge. Let's continue.
Mr. Petty got up and began yelling. He walked through the swinging gate and started to come up over to the stairs where they would step up to sit the council clerk, the council president, etc. He was over in that area, and then
There's no video of me going towards them stairs. You're creating a scenario that isn't true, Mary Springowski. Remember, we have video.
He starts walking over towards in front of her, and I got up and I raced over to Mr. Carrion, and I said, Mr. Carrion, I'm asking that you call the police or security and have Mr. Petty removed.
For what reason? Redressing my government with a question? Nobody else puts you by Ray Carrion, Mary. Joelle doesn't say you were there. Brianna didn't say you came up there. Ray Carrion doesn't say you were up there. And the video doesn't show you up there. Did you think that this was not recorded? Get the answer in court. Well, let's continue. Remember the last thing Springowski ran over to Carrion, wanted me arrested or kicked out of there. And we'll find out why.
He was yelling. Tony DeMacchia was standing by the doorway and was getting ready to leave, and he turned around and he said, this is unacceptable.
Tony DeMacchia never said that in his testimony. Thank you for clarifying that, Mary.
He needs to be removed. He should not be back there, meaning in the arena where all of the elected officials sit. He needs to be removed.
Even though Council Rule 41 allows citizens to be back there once the meeting is adjourned. The only time they have to leave is once the meeting commences. None of you guys know your own rules.
So I bypass Mr. Carrion and I walk over because Mr. Petty is still yelling and is very loud and he's kind of flailing his hands and that. And I look at Brianna, who is...
You walked past Mr. Carry-On, so that means you got between Jack Bradley and Ray Carry-On and was by Brianna. Nobody puts you there, Mary. Demakia said I was there. I think Dan Nutt says I might have been there past Mayor Bradley. Mayor Bradley doesn't put me past there. Ray Carrion doesn't put me past there. But you do for some reason. But you were back there too, according to your words right here. This is your testimony, Mary. Let's continue.
Standing there, and she's like reared back, her head is back, and her eyes are very big, and she just has a petrified look on her face.
But Joel and Tony Demakia said Brianna was standing. Now you say she's reared back because you're standing in front of her now. You were the one in front of her, not me.
And I walked over to her, and as I walked over, she came closer to her desk, and she put her head down, and I said, "Are you all right?" And she shook her head a little bit. And then I turned around to see who was behind me because Mr. Petty was still very, very loud. And I became, not only was I concerned about her safety, because he looked like he was going to hit her.
Why do you say that?
His arms were flailing, and he's a very large man, and he was like looming, and it was like he was coming at her. There's a very determined look. His face is contorted. He's yelling, and there's a very determined look, like he's aiming for her.
You say he was coming at her. Was he like walking towards her?
Moving towards her, yeah.
Okay. And then
did I move the mayor's chair out of the way, Mary? Did I push Jack Bradley out of the way to get past him? Or did I stop? You were right there, Mary. Nobody else says that, that I did any of that. Brianna doesn't even say that in her testimony to the police officer. Joel doesn't say that. But you do, Mary. How come?
this is as he's yelling or...
Yelling, yeah.
Okay.
And Joel Arredondo, council president, is sitting in his seat and is doing nothing.
Joel was waving, telling me to get out, and I asked him why your dad was back there. But you say he's doing nothing. Let's continue, Mary.
Pat Riley is on the other side and kind of stands up a little bit. Donnie Zaleski moved over. Ray was behind me, so I couldn't see what he was doing. Ray Carry-On.
Okay.
But, I mean, people were looking at, the people in the audience, other people were looking and were just stunned.
How would you be able to see what the people in the audience were doing if you were talking to Brianna, Mary? And Jack Bradley was standing right there. Why didn't you say what he was doing, Mary?
Like, so it kind of created a scene, is what you're saying?
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. My dad ran out, and for an 85-year-old man to run up that ramp and run out to security and say, you need to get in there.
Your dad told security they need to get in there, correct? Well, then his deposition better show that. Remember, you said your dad ran out there and got security for what? Because I was asking a question? Or you didn't like the question I was going to ask? Let's continue.
Okay.
He was concerned that something was going on.
So essentially, you know, the police or the auxiliary police, the security, was notified by your father.
Yes.
So it rose to that level, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Okay. And with that being said, how did the whole thing kind of end?
I turned back when she started getting ready to go out through the back, and there were people around her at that point to kind of like protect her.
Mm-hmm.
Then Mr. Petty seemed to move back forward beyond the back into the audience.
Okay.
And I went over to get my stuff because my husband was in the audience, and my thought was for my own safety as well because of a contentious history between myself and Mr. Petty.
And you're going to explain that in court. What contentious history? Because you allowed Corey Schauber to accuse me of lurking outside your house and taking video, which you've never proved that I did. The contentious history is that you're a liar, Mary Springowski. And you've already lied 5 or 6 times in the first 6 minutes and 58 seconds of this tape. Right? Let's continue.
And if he was agitated enough that I was concerned, I got my phone out, my personal phone, and I started the video recording because he was still very loud and belligerent.
Was he using expletives? Was he?
Wasn't. He not so much that he was swearing.
Okay.
But he was going on about his rights and what he wanted, and that they had better provide it.
Your video didn't show that, Mary Springowski, so you lied again. Unless you edited your video. The video that you provided to Special Prosecutor Patrick Ward and my attorney Robert Gargas shows me standing there and you walking right past me in the audience. And then you videoing me. You don't have any video of me standing by Brianna yelling at her or she's leaving or anybody taking her out. You've created another lie, Mary Springowski. This is why I'm suing you.
I haven't really reviewed the video yet because I was just concentrating on getting up to my husband and having my husband escort me out.
Sure.
But instead of having your husband escort you out, I went and talked to my counsel lady, Mary Spellesy, who you may be naming as somebody that has helped me attack Brianna Doe. We'll find that out too. But you didn't have your husband take you out. You stood there and videotaped me while I was in the audience. You videotaped me walking out the side south entrance to the council chambers. You then walked up the steps, went out there and stood by the security checkpoint while your husband was in the bathroom. And I walked up the hallway because you could hear me come up the hallway and your video, and I walked right past you. You were there by yourself. Was you, did I do anything to you? Or did I just walk out the door? You were so scared. Why would you stand there by yourself? Why wasn't your husband holding your hand? And where did your dad disappear to? With your belongings?
Now, to just kind of go to the next portion of this, I don't need to explain this to you. I know you have quite a celebrated history here of public service and obviously in politics here at the local level. So you understand that people in the public have a right to criticize government, even publicly appointed officials and obviously certainly elected officials.
Absolutely.
There you go. So what was the problem then, Mary? If we have a right to criticize, which the Ohio Constitution, Article 1, Section 3, we have a right to instruct our representatives. So let's quit using the word criticize. When we address our public officials, we are instructing them.
Did what Mr. Petty was what Mr. Petty doing in your
Mr. Petty crossed many lines last night.
Okay, how?
He, by his tone of voice, how agitated he was, the threatening manner in which he presented himself.
Well, are you aware of, like, if Mr. Petty were not satisfied with whatever service he was getting from Mrs. Dahl, is there another what is the recourse that he could have or maybe even should have taken in this? I'm not sure what happened, but
he could have sent an email. He could have phoned the safety service director. He could have phoned the mayor. He could have sent an email to all of council, to the council president,
Okay.
to anybody requesting that these be expedited.
Since that date of July 1st, 2024, I've sent probably 50 emails to you, Mary Springowski, and all of council. You never respond. And Mary Spellisi already asked the question that night, and I received the answer from Mary Spellisi and Brianna Dahl and you. You were appalled. The answer was that I could always look at the meeting on demand, and that will make the minutes official. Isn't that how Brianna explained it? So I have looked at many meetings on demand since then, and the minutes do not match the meeting on demand. And so our clerk, who is without a sworn oath, is not making accurate minutes. Right, Mary? You don't ever follow up on the minutes. Do you, Mary? You just like to accuse everybody else of not doing anything. But you're the one that is doing the wrong attitude.
Or
So they're
could he have
working the best to the best of their ability.
Could he have
They
filed a
cannot-
complaint about Mrs. Dole? Like, is there a
I'm
process
sure
where...
I'm sure he could have, but he could have said that they weren't providing a records request.
Right.
But these minutes were in process.
Well,
and
regardless
so they were
of
working on them.
Regardless of the validity of his complaint, what I'm, I guess, trying to get at is...
So he absolutely could have. He could have sent something to the law director.
Why? They don't respond to me, Mary. You don't. You only like to respond when you're running for office. I'm asking you now on this video right here, Mary. I want you to supply a sworn oath of Brianna Dahl as the clerk of Lorraine City Council. I've asked you, tagged you for 3 emails this past week. Today is February the 10th. The first one I think was today's February the 15th. I think I started asking you people for these emails last week. You have not provided any sworn oath for Brianna Dahl, Mary. So I've done exactly what you said I should have done. When are you going to respond, Mary? When you come up with a phony sworn oath? There's no oath of Brianna Dahl ever being sworn in as clerk of council. It's a violation of Ohio Constitution, Article 15, Section 7. You were sent that this week, Mary Springowski. Why haven't you sent me the clerk's oath?
Right. Like, I mean, I guess my point is, it seems from hearing your statement about this that he attempted to resolve something by yelling
He
or
attempted to resolve something in a very inappropriate and not an unacceptable manner.
So I guess my point is, if he were upset and wanting to criticize a public official, he can do that. But
Certainly.
when you say that he crossed the line this time, was it because
when he crossed the line, people can criticize us. I don't even care if they're really yelling at us, but when you physically loom over somebody and enter their personal space, when you come at them in a manner that is threatening, that looks like you're going to attack, physically harm them, especially when you are a large man compared to a small woman.
Define physical space, Mary. I didn't even go past the mayor's chair. I didn't climb over any desk. What's Brianna's physical space? What's your physical space? Huh? You recorded me that night. You walked right past me recording me when I was talking to Tim Williams. Were you in my physical space? Did you attempt to loom over me, Mary? Huh? You got a lot of definings to do when you're on the stand, your deposition. I'm making a recording of this so we know what to depose you on. All these lies that you tell. Can't change your story now, Mary. You told it to the police. That's as good as gold. Let's go.
Yeah.
She was afraid for her physical safety. I was afraid for her physical safety.
Okay. And where were you at the beginning of this, where I know
At
how
the beginning, I was at my council at large seat.
So that's kind of, I don't want to say quite a distance away, but you were pretty much on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And
in high heels.
What drew your what?
But you said as soon as I walked through the door, Mary, you got up and raced past Ray Carry-On. So you should have been caught on the city video camera. You said as soon as I came through the swinging gate, you got up and raced past Ray Carry-On. Now you're changing your story, Mary? What's your story going to be when you get into court?
What drew your attention to this, like from the other side of the room?
How loud he was. He was yelling very loudly.
Mm-hmm.
And when he started moving in, and I heard how loudly, and it looked like people were trying to keep him back, and he was still moving forward.
You're going to get to name the people that you looked in your mind's eye to see anybody moving me back. I walked through the gate. I started towards Jack Bradley. I pointed at Jack Bradley. And when I got there, Joelle starts yelling and telling me to get out. And I said, I want to clarify. And I never got to finish what I was going to clarify. I turned and saw your dad over there. I asked, what about Donovan? Brianna was finishing up her job. She wasn't standing. I wasn't looming over her. If I was answering Joelle, wasn't I? I was questioning Joelle. But you've created something completely different, haven't you, Mary? Because this is what you conspired to do.
And then I looked over at Brianna to make sure she was all right, and I saw she was not.
Okay.
I have known Brianna for many, many years.
And I knew her grandfather before you knew who anybody was, Mary Springowski. Her grandfather was Tom Butchko, a famous union man from Ford that I worked with. But you've dropped it already. You said that you raced over by Brianna as soon as I went through the gate. Now you change your story, Mary? Good thing we got it on tape.
Years. From when she worked, from when she was a child at St. Anthony's, from when she was at the Parks and Recs department. And I have never seen that young woman so scared.
And the city video doesn't show her scared either. So what are you dreaming this stuff up for? Huh, Mary? You like the drama, don't you, Mary? You like spreading rumors on Lorraine Ritchie's page. That's why she's being sued, too, because you people want to put me on your emails and accuse me of shit I didn't do. Let's continue.
Okay. And that was by the look on her face. Was she crying? Was she...
She looked like she was close to it. Her eyes...
Oh, yeah. She didn't even look at you. You weren't even over there, Mary. There's no evidence of you going past Ray Carry-On. You're making this up.
Were very shiny and red. And...
Did she ask anybody for help, or was she just kind of frozen? Like, what was her demeanor?
She was frozen. She didn't know what to do. She was petrified.
She turned off the videotape, though, didn't she, Mary? How come? If she was so scared and petrified, means she didn't move, how was she able to turn off the video, Mary? Huh? Petrified. If she was so scared, at the moment of fear, she should have left it going, right, Mary? Or is this because you guys figured this out afterwards? Huh, Mary? A lot of questions for you, Mary.
Okay. Okay, and just for the record...
As a mother with daughters the same age, my first concern was for her safety.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. That's understandable. For the record, there's a... I know that it's not secured, but there is a kind of blocking half door or whatever that separates where the audience sits.
You come through it.
Okay. And there's a sign on that, I believe, that says...
It says the public should not enter unless specifically invited.
That's a lie, Mary. It says city officials beyond this point only. It doesn't say public is invited. You're making that up again, Mary. And Council Rule 41 covers it, Mary, that you only have to leave once the meeting commences. You really lost this video. I mean, you lost your words and what you're trying to make up here. Matter of fact, let's go back here a couple of seconds and see this. Let's see what Mary says about the sign.
But there is a kind of blocking half door or whatever that separates where the audience
come
sits.
Through it.
Okay, and there's a sign on that, I believe, that says
It says the public should not enter unless specifically invited.
You gonna swear to that, Mary, that that's what the sign says? Because now you're a flat-ass lying. Right? And who invited Carissa Wytalk back there and when? When did you invite your dad back there, Mary? Remember, you were up there past Ray Carry-On talking to Brianna. Right? When did you tell your dad to come up there, Mary? Go back here and listen again.
kind of blocking half door or whatever that separates where the audience
come
sits.
Through it.
Okay, and there's a sign on that, I believe, that says
It says the public should not enter unless specifically invited.
Do you know if anybody invited him over?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
He just took it upon himself to barge. And it wasn't a case of like, you know, my dad came down to get a paper because I said, Daddy, come here and get this.
When did you tell your dad that, Mary? Lieutenant Morris says you asked your dad come to carry some belongings for you because you had a medical issue. Is that going to be said later on in this video? Let's listen. Daddy, come and get my stuff. What was wrong with your husband?
Okay.
He just took it upon himself to barge. And it wasn't a case of like, you know, my dad came down to get a paper because I said, Daddy, come here and get this. My dad came down to get a paper from me. It was an article. And so he came through because I had specifically asked him to get this because I'm watching all of this going on. And
no, you said you were past Ray Carry-On talking to Brianna. Now you're sitting at your desk watching it. In the meantime, you took your mind away from what was going on with Brianna and me trying to talk to Jack Bradley, and you're saying, Daddy, come and get this paper. Is that what your testimony is going to be, Mary? Because you, remember, you raced up into Mary and to Brianna and went back and started recording. Remember, Mary?
Mr. Petty just barged through the gate because it swung back.
Carissa Wytalk barged through the gate that night, too, and it swung back. We have it on tape, Mary. It's a swinging door, Mary. I have video of your dad going through that gate and it's swinging back. Was he barging on July the 15th? Mary?
Okay, and I think that's on video. I mean, I can double check all that. I just wanted to make sure you didn't have knowledge I didn't have of somebody maybe inviting him over or something. I just...
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
And I was kind of keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Because he was so agitated. This was out of the norm even for him.
Did that add to your suspicions of what may happen? Or your fears?
Because, I'm used to him being very belligerent and bellicose.
Okay.
Nobody even knows what bellicose means, Mary. Asking you a question is belligerent and bellicose to you, Mary. Because you have no answers to anybody. Aaron Knapp said he was going to confront you and talk to you about something you thought he was going to attack you. Because your little mind thinks everybody's trying to get out to get you. Well, you've done lied enough here on this thing where you should probably lawyer up and just go ahead and settle this. Because you're going to be embarrassed and on the stand. All you've done is lie. And there's more lies to come, people. I'm letting you know now. 6 minutes left.
And for the level of agitation that I witnessed was beyond that, ratcheted up to a 10. And he was really quite beside himself.
Is that part of why you felt that it may escalate?
That was what concerned me because I've never seen him lose it like this.
But remember, you said you recorded me, Mary. When are you going to show that recording of me doing that? You said you recorded in the beginning. Now, we can go back and look at this again, Mary. You said that you raced by Brianna, was talking to her. Her eyes were welled up. She might have been crying. Then you went back because you were so scared, and you started recording me while I was still up there by Brianna. When are you going to deliver that video, Mary? Did you edit the video that you sent us?
And that is the only way that it can be described as he just totally lost it.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything that you would like me to add?
That
Or
I
like to
have
add?
sent an email,
Okay.
and I have been asked that Mr. Petty be banned from council chambers from now on because
Mary, you can't do that. I have a First Amendment right to be in a public place. So you want to, this is what the 1983-42 is, Mary. You're attempting to violate my First Amendment rights. This is why the trespassing was dismissed, Mary, because I wasn't trespassing. But you and Tony want me banned. You want me trespassed because you just can't stand my presence because I hold you accountable, and this audio will hold you accountable much more than I ever will because this is your own words, Mary.
if it ratcheted up to this level and escalated that quickly, I am not sure what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a big woman myself.
Sure.
I'm only 5'3".
Right.
And he is a very large man.
Okay.
And I have, he may try to play up his disability of having one lung removed from cancer, but I have pulmonary sarcoidosis, so my air intake is restricted as well.
Yet you run your mouth at council meetings, Mary. You yell and scream. You told Joe Carbonell you don't even live in Lorraine, and you stomped out of that committee meeting that night, which you weren't even a member of. We have that on tape too, Mary. Keep going. Dig the hole.
Okay.
And, and I'm 58 years old. I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
Oh. Well, at that time, I was 73 years old, Mary. I'm not a spring rooster anymore. At least I won't let you know if I am.
My husband has to escort me to and from the meetings because of my fear of my personal safety with him. This has been ongoing for years.
And you're going to explain in your deposition what's been going on about this. And you better produce some kind of writing. Not what you and Lorraine Ritchie have come up with, but actual facts of me doing something to you, Mary Springowski.
I have repeatedly, and my colleagues, Mr. Thornsberry and Mr. Shawver.
Yes, Mr. Shawver, I'm glad you mentioned his name. He wrote in an email that I lurk outside your house taking videos. You've never approved any videos. You've never showed any videos of me outside your house. You've never got any Ring cameras in your neighborhood that I was outside your house. You just allowed him to create that. And you let your buddy Thornsberry say I'm stalking you or I'm obsessed with you. No, Mary, I'm obsessed with the Constitution that you people at City Hall do not follow. If you did, you would make sure that Brianna Dahl had a sworn oath that I asked 3 times. And Jeff Bear, my sitting councilman now. None of you on council have made her get her sworn oath. But you're so worried about bringing up Corey Shawver and Thornsberry. They violate the Open Meetings Act and you allow them to, Mary. Okay, let's continue.
Have asked that this be addressed, and nothing has ever been addressed, and we just see it ratcheting up. Mr. Bradley and Mr. Arredondo both sat there. That is unacceptable.
Jack Bradley got up as a gentleman while I was approaching him. Jack Bradley was standing, Mary. I couldn't get past Jack Bradley to get to Brianna like you said, because I would have had to push him down and move his chair. I never went past Jack Bradley. Yet you said I was there, leaning over Brianna. You have no proof of that, no video, just your mouth. But we have video that shows I didn't go there. Jack Bradley was standing by me. And remember, you didn't even insist that Mr. Bradley be interviewed. But you had Dan Nutt, the furthest guy away, be interviewed. If your husband was seeing all this, why wasn't he interviewed? Where's your dad's interview? Where's Carissa Whitetalk's interview? Where's Don Zaleski's interview? Where is Joe Kishira's interview? They were all there. Did you stop them from being interviewed, Mary? Did Morris stop them from being interviewed? Did McCann stop them? Because remember, McCann sent the email that I cornered Brianna Dahl. There's no evidence of that.
Okay.
Both of them have daughters, and they should be heartily ashamed of themselves for not ensuring that Mrs. Dahl was safe.
And that may be something that gets addressed, kind of administratively, I suppose. Maybe the reaction to this, maybe council should get training on what to do in case of. But I mean, obviously, those things are kind of aside from the immediate, I guess, or this specific incident. Their reaction.
Right, and whereas we are expected to take criticism,
right,
and criticism should be constructive.
Sure. Well, it should be, yeah. I mean.
Yeah, it should be. But at no point are we required to put our personal safety on the line. And it is my belief, my sincerest belief, and my great fear that nothing is going to be done in this city until we have a tragedy befall us. I honestly think that that's what it's going to take before anybody in this city does anything proactive to ensure the safety of the women coming in and out of the council meetings, the elected officials.
Sure.
We are subject to abuse that no man would ever be subjected to.
And so what is the abuse that you're subjected to, Mary? The abuse that we ask for public records from you? We ask for email responses from you and you don't respond? Is that abuse because we redress you? That's your abuse that you think abuse is? You want to violate my First Amendment rights of being in a public place? I'm abused by not having a clerk with a sworn oath. How about you, Mary? Have you been abused? Are the minutes accurate? Is Brianna Dahl even allowed to sign the minutes? She's not a sworn officer.
Understood. And I mean, those are valid concerns that, maybe it'd be appropriate to have a meeting and, before the next council hearing and determine what can be done kind of right now and then what can be done long term to address the shortcomings.
My concern is that Mrs. Dahl is in that office with Mrs. Parton on a daily basis, and they have been leaving their door open to have the access to the public. And that provides a tremendous service to the public.
Sure.
And I don't think that Mrs. Dahl or Mrs. Parton should have their office doors open any longer, or they should at least have a half door put in there, that the top may be open, but that the bottom is closed.
Yeah, no, this is all...
And locked.
These are all excellent ideas, and I think they could probably be explored relatively quickly. But for the purposes of this interview, I'm going to end the interview unless you have anything more about this specific incident.
No, this was it. And I was just glad that people managed to surround Brianna and get her back into her office. And then my husband wanted to ensure. I tried to leave the gallery, the council chambers, and I went and stood out by where security is, and of course they were in council chambers.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Petty came out by himself and everything like that, and so I just held my phone up.
Let me ask you this. You said you were glad that people surrounded Mrs. Dahl.
It looked like Mr. Riley, Mr. Zaleski, and I'm not sure who all was there at that point, but it's like they got her out there.
This is where you perjured yourself, Mary, because your own video shows that Brianna Dahl wasn't in that council chamber. And Riley and Zaleski were still there, along with Tony DeMacchia, in the council chambers with Brianna and Ray and Jack Bradley. And I mean, with Carissa, Ray, and Jack Bradley, Brianna was gone. Let's back this up to make sure Mary Springowski knows what's on her video.
Mrs. Dahl.
It looked like Mr. Riley, Mr. Zaleski, and I'm not sure who all was there at that point, but it's like they got her out there.
And again, they're. You said they surrounded her. I mean, was that like clearly
After all of
they
this,
recognized something, maybe unsafe happening, or?
Yeah, it looked at that point because then Mr. Petty walked out and he walked over to where the big pillar is in front of the audience.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. Williams, the Assistant Safety Service Director, was standing by the swinging gate that comes into the council area because I had to ask him to excuse me so that I could get through because Mr. Petty was standing over there. But Mr. Williams was between me and Mr. Petty at that point.
Okay.
It all escalated very quickly.
But you lied, Mary. You said that Zaleski and Riley surrounded Brianna and took her out. Your video doesn't even show that, Mary. You lied. You're blowing your whole case, Mary, because you have so much hate for anybody that questions how you operate as an elected official.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and end the interview now unless there's anything else that you'd like to add just about this incident.
It.
And then, all right, so we're going to conclude here at 11:11.
So there you have it, Lorraine. Mary Springowski's interview with Lieutenant Morris. Mary, remember, started off that the meeting was adjourned. DeMacchia said the meeting was adjourned. Joel said the meeting was adjourned. But Lieutenant Morris told Judge Elwell the meeting was not adjourned, even though his recorded timeline that's in writing said the meeting was adjourned when I walked in there. The motion carried. That means the meeting is adjourned. There's no pounding any gavel. That's not in the Ohio Revised Code. You just created a situation, Morris, because McCann told you to make it happen. Right? Springowski admitted that she wants me banned from there. I have a witness of a council person that's going to testify that Tony DeMacchia wants me banned. Right? Tony DeMacchia's email wants me trespassed. Well, trespassing was dismissed. That opens up what Judge Kimbler signed, that I'm allowed to continue a civil lawsuit against you people. And I'm going to, and I have. Look up your case, Mary. Let's get back to this other one here, this good one. Mary Springowski walking out. All right, it's now September 27th, 9:06 p.m. Going back through these videos, Mary Springowski's videos today. Remember, okay, she's
Where you parked?
Mr. Lieutenant Morris's affidavit to the court said that you said your dad had to come back there and help you carry some baggage because you had a medical. Let's get this back 1 second. There you are, carrying luggage, Mary, or a suitcase or something. Are you going to call Lieutenant Morris a liar, who's now Captain Morris? Or is he going to call you a liar? See, this is why I do this stuff. This is why I have all these videos. This is why we got all these tapes, and I got them transcribed. You got a lot of answering to do, Mary. And don't be intimidated. These are your own words. Your own words. They surrounded. Where was this here? Let's play this again if we can.
And again, you said they surrounded her. I mean, was that like clearly they recognized something, maybe unsafe happening, or?
Yeah, it looks at that point because when Mr. Petty walked out and he walked over to where the big pillar is in front of the audience, and Mr. Williams, the Assistant Safety Service Director, was standing by the swinging gate that comes into the council area because I had to ask him to excuse me so that Mr. Riley, Mr. Zaleski, and I'm not sure who all was there at that point, but it's like they got her out there.
Wow, that's understanding here. Now let's see my YouTube video here. Let's see, let's look and see if we can find that video. Here's a video. All right, today is September the 27th at 9:47 a.m. That's how I'm going to start this video, or this live feed, and I'm going to put this on Facebook. What I'm going to show is me entering the...
I was just going to say, I was going to make the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Ms. Hanlon, support. Please vote.
Mr. Law, thank you. The motion carries with one dissenting vote.
That's it. The motion carries. That ended the meeting there. I'm not inside there yet, am I? The time is 18:38:59. Clerk Dahl says the motion carries with one dissenting vote. Right here is a report from Lieutenant Morris. Mary Springowski makes motion to adjourn the meeting. Dahl announces that the motion carries, but that there was one dissenting vote from Councilman Demakia. Petty is observed opening the gate marked city officials only beyond this point and approaching Dahl. The meeting was adjourned. Right there it is to the second. I'm not in there. Here's the picture. Right? 18:38:59 is the timestamp. Let's continue this now.
True, Mr. Demakia.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
I want to make this clear. I'm looking at Joel. Jack Bradley's standing there. Mary said he was sitting. Joel's motioned me to leave because he thinks he has authority over everything. Brianna's not even looking at me. And Mary Springowski apparently said she got up and raced over here. Let's see if she's in this video. I want to make this clear. So that's a redress of my government. Brianna Doe's not looking at me. She's not standing there petrified. That was the end of that one. All right. Mary, you weren't in that video. You said you got up immediately when I walked through that gate. Let's see if we can go forward here. Here is Mary Springowski starting her video. Remember, she said she immediately got up there and raced over by Brianna, past Ray Carry-On. It didn't show her doing that. Then she went back because she was scared and started her video. Okay, now she should have videoed me while I was standing there, but she doesn't. Here's where her video starts on July the 1st. That took us over a year to get it because she incriminates herself in her testimony to interview with Lieutenant Morris. Let's watch.
That's America today. Well, he's a Trump supporter, too. Excuse me, Mr. Williams. Sorry. Thank you. This is our first meeting here.
There I am talking to these people that asked me a question about public records. I'm not being belligerent, Mary. I'm answering these questions. Let's see where all your friends are that you carried out Brianna. Let's watch. Hold this up. Hold it up. This is Mary Springowski's video. There's Pat Riley. Come on, hold it up higher. Who's that back there? I don't know. There's Don Zaleski. Brianna's not there. You said they surrounded Brianna. Let's see who's back over here. Well, that's Tony There's Tony Damachia back there and Don Zaleski.
I don't have that answer right now.
Jack Bradley's there. Tony Damachia goes out that exit door. I can show on Mary Springowski's statement to the police officer that Tony Damachia was over by the door that's over here.
Oh, I saw that look earlier. We saw that once before. Unfortunately, getting ready to go beat somebody's face. Here, shake the tobacco.
There's Garen Petty there with the red hat on. Sylvia Duvall is walking out. Don Zaleski is now leaving. Pat Riley is still there behind Jack Bradley. Brianna Dahl has already gone. Yet Springowski says that Zaleski and Riley walked Brianna Dahl out. I'm already in the audience, and Riley and Zaleski are still there. They said they left before anything happened with Brianna Dahl and me. All these people are liars. All right, let's go back to the Mary Springowski statement here. This is Mary Springowski's interview with the police lieutenant Morris. Let's listen what she says.
And I'm not sure who all was there at that point, but it's like they got her out there. Of course, they were in council chambers.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Petty came out by himself and everything like that. And so I just held my phone up.
Let me ask you this. You said you were glad that people surrounded Mrs. Dahl.
It looked like Mr. Riley, Mr. Zaleski, and I'm not sure who all was there at that point. But it's like they got her out there.
But we just saw your video, Mary. It doesn't show Brianna in the office or in the chambers. You're making up another story, Mary. You never thought we'd get your video, did you? Tried to keep it from us for over a year, but we got it now. You lied. You lied to the police, Mary. You lied about me. That's why I'm suing you. 1983, 42. You lie. You're trying to stop my constitutional rights.
And again, you said they surrounded her. I mean, was that like clearly
After all of
they
this,
recognized something, maybe unsafe happening, or?
Yeah, it looks at that point, because then Mr. Petty walked out and he walked over to where the big pillar is in front of.
I was already standing by the pillar, Mary, talking to people after I had went and talked to my counsel lady, Mary Spellowski. You see, where is it here now? Let's get this right here real quick. Let's back this up here. Let's make sure we see Denver Casto. Denver was there. There's Zaleski. Remember, Mary, you lied. There's me. There's Garen Petty there with the red hat on. Sylvia Duvall is walking out. Don Zaleski is now leaving. Pat Riley is still there behind Jack Bradley. Brianna Dahl has already gone. Yet Springowski says that Zaleski and Riley want Brianna Dahl. I'm already in the audience, and Riley and Zaleski are still there. They said they left before anything happened with Brianna Dahl and me. All these people are liars. Let's back this up here. There's Denver Casto walking right there. I was over there talking to Denver. Mary, you were supposedly videoing this the whole time after you went back to your seat when Brianna was still sitting up there. Your own video condemns you, Mary. Right, let's see here. Your own video condemned you, Mary.
Chambers, and I went and stood out by where security is, and of course they were in council chambers.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Petty came out by himself and everything like that, and so I just held my phone up.
Let me ask you this. You said you were glad that people surrounded Mrs. Dahl.
It looked like Mr. Riley, Mr. Zaleski, and I'm not sure who all was there at that point. But it's like they got her out there.
Tony DeMacchia said that I followed Brianna, or no, Joelle said I followed Brianna back to her office. Where's your video on that, Mary? This ought to be fun. You people got to start answering our questions now, because we're going down to the 15th round, Mary. You've lied. Dan Nutt lied. Joelle lied. Brianna lied. Morris lied. Morris should be charged with Brady violations. Lieutenant Morris, Police Department. He lied to the judge, and we can prove it. So, have a good night, everybody. I didn't go into this blind, Mary. You did. Now you're going to end up having to go to court and testifying on the stand that you lied to a police officer. You lied about Don Zaleski and Pat Riley. You lied about Brianna. You lied about Jack Bradley. You lied about Ray Carrion. Ray Carrion never said you said anything to him. We got his interview too, Mary. So this is about Mary and Lorraine Ritchie and the ladies that like to create lies about me. Right? I'm going to put this on Facebook and YouTube, Mary. As for the rest of you, tomorrow marks the 4th year anniversary where Mary Springowski said on the council floor that Victoria Kempton was stereotyping minorities. I asked back then if that was a violation of decorum for council. I've never gotten an answer. Maybe we will in court this time. Anyhow, it's gonna be right here. Sunday, February the 15th, 8:15. Karen Petty. I'm happy. I'm out.